Okay, so for those of you who have been waiting for me to make another video, I apologize. Life has really been busy. But this is my self-feeding soft toss machine, and I'm going to go through the components and how I put it together. Now, just a word of warning, I made no plans. This was all kind of tinker with it till it fit. You can even see I've got an older version of the wheel down there. So a lot of trial and error, but let me just take you through the different pieces. So the frame, make it out of anything 2x4. I found just the smaller, what is this, 2x2s to be a little bit cheaper. But basically I made 2 sets of legs, and then just a simple crossbar. And then for the chute, it's basically is a 2x4 with some thin, just some scrap that I had, about, what is that, about 1/4 of an inch thick. So your width between these two posts will be determined on what kind of material you use for the chute. But for baseballs, definitely fits. I believe it would fit a softball as well, but you may want to do some messing around with that. All right, for the this is actually it took me a long time to figure this piece out. So this is the how I adjust the launch angle. So basically, this is a sign that I got out of the front yard. It was during the elections, and just one of those little poly signs. So what I did is I took the metal stakes and I cut them off, and I shoved them all the way up inside here so that I could bend this to the shape that I want. And then on my 2x4, to make it smooth, I actually cut out just a little bit here so that this is flush right there with the sign. So otherwise the balls would bounce off of that and you wouldn't get a very smooth launch. So I just took my router and routed it down a little bit and made it smooth, and then just screwed it on there. So it's just sitting there. All right. So next is the ball holder. So with a 3-inch piece of PVC pipe, basically just cut out this groove here to allow us to see how many balls were left. That really didn't need to be there. I would just like to be able to see how many balls were left in the chute. As far as the angle goes, we messed with several different angles. I don't really know what angle that is, but it's about a 6-inch drop from the back to the front. I made the front adjustable, and I'll show you why here in just a few minutes. But basically that's the ball chute. It can hold, could have went longer, but the longer you go, the taller it was, and my kids couldn't reach to put the balls in there. So that pipe's about 3.5 feet long, approximately. I suppose I can measure some stuff here. All right, so that tube is 46 inches front to back. Cut off a little less than half of the tube. And the total run I got here for the chute is, looks like about 74 inches for the chute. Sorry, I'm not a professional YouTube video maker, as you can tell. My total height is right at 78 inches. My gap on the legs, just over 31 inches. All right, enough measurements for now. So the other thing that I did to allow this to be totally one person can use it is put this little stop block in here. So I just notched out on both sides a little bit of the tubing there. The trick to this is you got to have that shape. So you need to have the side toward the away from the balls to be flat. Otherwise this little pipe just falls right out. So use your imagination, but it's nice to have something to stop that. You load the balls, pull that, and then you got about 10 seconds to get in place to start hitting. So, all right. So the motor, that is actually a rotisserie motor. Picked it up at Lowe's in their barbecue section for about, that's the most expensive part, about 30 bucks, I think. And the wheel I had some foam sitting around and some thin plywood. I just cut some circles, drilled a hole through it, and made the wheel. So I'll disassemble this and show you that in more detail here in a little bit. I did find it was necessary again to keep the balls from bouncing so you get a smooth delivery. I put another piece of foam here for the balls to land on before they go down the chute. And then of course something so they don't fall off the end. All right, so let's see this thing in action. So like I said, this is you got about 10 seconds in between pitches so that you can go get reset and work on your fundamentals that way. That way it's not pitching too fast. It does work with regular baseballs, these practice balls, or the wiffle balls. Okay? So and down here you can see when they come off the end, they come off real smooth off of that ramp, and you can adjust that ramp up or down to get you better ball placement. All right. Now, depending on how heavy the ball is, you'll get longer flight and so on. Okay, a little bit more about the tube. So I made it adjustable so that you can put the little practice golf balls in there. Basically, I wanted my kids to be able to hit those with, we made a homemade hit stick. This is an old curtain rod that we filled with sand, taped up, and basically they're hitting those golf balls with that. So makes it a little bit better for the hand-eye coordination. But obviously, those balls are not going to fit. They're not going to hit the foam. So what I did was I made this little contraption. Basically, it's just PVC pipe that I've kind of manipulated and notched out and attached. And attached to the tube. I cut off the end of the tube and left a tab and kind of used a blowtorch and melted that down. And so as you can see, this is not professional quality here. A lot of trial and error. But then I've got two different sets of screws here. For the golf balls, I can set it up higher. Those baseballs, I can set it down lower. So really the concept is what you need. You may have to tinker with it a little bit to get it to work the way that you want it to. All right, so you can see I've got it adjusted for the golf balls. So now when I take this out, the golf balls get fed through there the same as the baseballs. All right, so that is pretty much it as far as how it works. Let me go ahead and take this apart for you and show you the components of the wheel here. So the bungee cord is simply there to hold this. It's not there to hold it from left and right. It's to keep it from falling off the end. Okay, so I'll take this bungee cord off. Again, not a professional video maker, so I apologize. All right. So this just comes off. You can see it's got a little square notch on there. And basically what I did is I took a bolt, just a 3/8 inch bolt, took my angle grinder and just ground that down to a square so that it fits on that hole. Okay. All right. So before I take this apart, hopefully you can see this. So again, this is just 3 layers of foam that is squeezed between 2 plywood circles. Again, just kind of making it up as I went. Basically, the premise here is you've got to squeeze that in there tight and lock that in with those lock nuts and washers I'll show you, and then these little spacers I made out of PVC. Okay, so you can see I don't even have I didn't have a bolt long enough, so mine doesn't even go through to the other side. Just kind of rests in there and turns. All right, let's take it apart. So basically, to take it apart, I'm just gonna take this top loose. All right, so that I can try and do this with one hand here. Spread this out. Oh, I still got this locked on down here. So I'm gonna put my phone down. You get the drift. All right. So the components of this, basically, I've got a spacer that goes up against the wall of the leg. Just a piece of PVC pipe I cut. Then you've got the a nut and a lock washer and another washer on there, and that repeats on this side. And you just kind of have to play with it to get the distances and everything right. But the main thing is that this is solid. The bolt cannot spin through this hole. The bolt has to be tightened and squeezed on top of squeezing that together so that it all turns as one unit. Okay. Again, the bolt, I believe it's a 3/8 inch bolt. I just ground that down. Again, this is just what I had in my garage, so, but grind it down to where it fits inside the square for the rotisserie motor. All right. All right. So my friends, that's it. I will try and answer questions. I don't pay attention to my YouTube account very much because I've only got 2 videos on there, but that is our self-feeding soft toss machine. Thank you.